citizens of YouTube land.
Hey,
It's your president and your VP. And, well, it's June. And that means that it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which, yeah, I know that it's also something else. And
we got something for that.
We got something for you guys.
We got something for that, but that'll come out at the end of June. Give me 1 second.
Ambient mode on the TV, guys. You know how it is on this channel. But anyways, since it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month,
you're getting 4 reviews across 4 weeks, guys, for films that kind of tackle men's mental health. And
the first one is going to be Fight Club.
You broke rule number 1 of Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club. It's fine.
Let's continue with the review. So Fight Club is a movie by David Fincher, and it stars Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Meatloaf, Jared Leto. Yeah, that guy's back again.
Bruh.
Second time in as many months. Yeah. So also stars Helen Bonham Carter. So with it premiered October 15th, 1999, and it was made for a budget of $63 to $65 million, and it made $101 million at the box office. And its current Rotten Tomatoes score is what?
81%.
81% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, Edward Norton is our narrator, and he lives a pretty dire and drab existence as he's more or less involved in like insurance claims. So it's a very mundane, drab existence that he lives. He's a numbers cruncher. His boss hates him. Everybody around him ignores him, and he has insomnia.
Yeah.
And this is
very already kind of like psychologically disturbed.
Yes. So one day he decides that he needs an outlet and a release for his insomnia that will hopefully help him sleep, because for months and months he hasn't really slept that well. So he decides that he's going to go to some support groups. One of them being, well, it's where you go, it's a support group for testicular cancer. And he meets this guy named Robert Paulson, who is played by Meatloaf in the movie, guys. And I guess maybe Meatloaf in this film shouldn't have been doing anything under the paradise of the dashboard light. So, but anyway. Robert here is a crier. I mean, an extreme crier. Here, take a look. And as a result of this, our narrator actually opens up and cries as well. And so he has this release because he just lets it all out and just cries, and he goes home and he sleeps like a baby. Well, actually, better than a baby, he says. So he becomes addicted to these support groups, and he goes around to these various support groups for, the testicles, and I don't know if I can really be saying that too much on YouTube.
Probably not.
So there's that, but anyways, there's these different support groups that he keeps going to. But suddenly, a mysterious lady shows up and starts ruining his vibe. And he's not able to really get what he needs no more. And he does end up striking a deal with her that they're going to take turns on the different support groups. But this man is about to flip the script. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he's on an airplane, right? And he somehow, imagines himself getting hit by another aircraft. Because, let's just say he's also maybe shows signs of depression here.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the film. And that's when, and he like wakes up, and all of a sudden, we get introduced to a new character of Tyler Durden.
Yeah, so Tyler Durden is a cool, competent, collected, basically the exact opposite of who our narrator is.
Which, by the way, the narrator, he never gets a name. He's known in the film as the narrator.
Yeah. He never gets a name. So the narrator and Tyler are talking on the plane, and but so then they go their separate ways for a while. But Tyler gives him his number. So there's this fire that happens at the narrator's house, his apartment,
his condo.
And so then he has to meet back up with Tyler. And Tyler basically comes out and he goes, he's like, I got to get a hotel. The narrator says, I got to get a hotel now. And then Tyler's like, hey, man, if you just come right out and ask. If you need a place, just come, just ask. And so then they get into their first fight, Tyler and the narrator. And this is going to make sense later on, guys. Because if you haven't seen it, it's
It kind of doesn't make sense.
It doesn't really make sense
until the very end.
So, but Tyler and narrator get into a fight, and they're fighting with each other, and there's some onlookers, and then they reconcile, and they're like, "Hey, man, we should actually fight again. This was cool. Let's do this again." So. And this is the narrator that actually suggests this, by the way. So that's hint number one of where this is going.
Yeah, and the narrator and Tyler, after many beers adult beverages, my mistake.
Yeah.
After many adult beverages and fights, they then start forming a fight club.
This is also after the narrator has moved in with Tyler, and the woman who he had previously had contact with,
Marla,
she re-enters the picture, and she starts to have some relations with Tyler. And
Tyler
and Marla have whoopee. And then she comes downstairs, and her and the narrator get into an argument. And she's like, hey, you're weird. I'm getting out of here. Go ahead.
Yeah. After that, there's actually a pretty funny line from Brad Pitt shown here.
Yeah.
What? And I'm not. Sticking feathers up your butt does not make you a chicken.
This film can also sometimes be classified as a dark comedy.
The narrator, you see, likes Marla, but Tyler does not. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Tyler, he also tells the narrator, hey, don't tell her about me.
So, also, they've started the fight club now. And they invite Robert, or Robert finds out about it. So Robert's back in the picture. And Robert comes in and he joins Fight Club too. And there's a whole bunch of people that have now, a whole bunch of men have now joined Fight Club. And they're all now training and living in the house with Tyler and the narrator.
Because somehow this Fight Club turns into... Can we even say the T word on YouTube? I don't think we can.
We cannot. It's a certain type of organization that likes to target... No, we can't say that. Okay.
Likes to use a bunch of booms
against buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So... it's that type of organization that it's slowly becoming, because it's now called Project Mayhem. And again, I guess the first rule about Project Mayhem is you don't talk about Project Mayhem. So
No, you don't ask questions about Project Mayhem.
Oh, right. So I better not bring up any questions about Project Mayhem. We'll just go with it.
Anyways, we get to fast forwarding a little bit because there's honestly it's kind of confusing, but not really. If we want to get to this specific scene where the narrator is
hold on. There's a little bit more that we should explain.
Okay,
because let's back it up before we start wrapping it up just a little bit. We'll back it up. Robert is now a part of Project Mayhem, but we also get the introduction, as we said earlier, of our friend Jared Leto, where
You're too fucking blonde.
Too blonde. Yep. So he's now a part of it. So now Project Mayhem has escalated into what we've said it is, and the narrator's not really cool with this, and then Tyler just disappears and is gone. And so then, though, the narrator realizes that Marla's life is in danger, so he attempts to send her on the bus because, spoiler alert, Robert, unfortunately, is going to sleep with the fishes. Go ahead, let's speed it up with the reveal.
So the narrator is sitting in a hotel room, and Tyler says, "Hey, man, I thought I told you to not tell her about me," and all that.
He actually just comes out of nowhere too. So, yeah.
He that's basically the first thing he says. He's like, "Hey, man, I thought I told you not to tell her about me," and all that. And Tyler, he then starts telling the narrator, and the narrator starts piecing it together that him and Tyler are the same person. Dun dun dun. Yeah, it turns out that because of his mundane life that he had been living and whatnot, and that need for more excitement in his life, led to him developing split personality disorder.
Yeah, he had a split, if you will. And so now the narrator has realized what he has done and that he has, in fact, put Marla's life in danger. And he attempts to, before all this, though, he attempts to stop what is going to happen with Project Mayhem. And he goes to the police department, where the police department, they start to believe that one of them believes what's going to happen. However, the others are actually a part of Project Mayhem. And they say, "Hey, you say that we needed to stop you no matter what." And then he spouts off, no, this is dangerous. We got to stop this. And you said you'd say that. So it ends where they're about to do the same thing, okay, that would have happened had he had actually had that happen to him in the first support group that he joined, when he suddenly grabs a bang bang and starts to try to, he tells people to back off, basically. And he gets out of there, and he goes back to the house. Well, it's not the house, but he gets out of there, and Tyler is now, he realizes, the narrator, that there's only one thing he can do to get rid of Tyler completely. So he takes the weapon.
They're at this building, right? Beforehand, there's another funny line from Brad Pitt right here.
Wow! Okay, you are now firing a gun at your imaginary friend near 400 gallons of nitroglycerin!
Here. Or he's like, "Whoa, you're shooting a real gun at your imaginary friend against 400 tons of nitroglycerin." I find that funny. I don't know why, but yeah, basically Tyler kind of like takes control there, and then the narrator, and then here at the very end, they're in this building, right? And the narrator comes to the realization that Tyler isn't holding the weapon; he is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So he uses the bang bang against himself, and it causes Tyler to disappear completely. And it's more or less like where he's actually like maybe snapped back to sanity for a minute. However, all that's still going to happen to them other buildings from Project Mayhem. So the very, very last ending shot is the narrator and Marla together watching it all burn down to the ground. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the themes that, and that's how this wraps up. Now, one of the themes that was most present in this movie was, I felt like there was an anti-consumerism message behind it all, as they were going to target the credit card companies and financial institutions. And this is something that really would have resonated just a few years later when we started to have a financial crisis. And well, it probably actually resonates with a lot of people today due to the economic times that we're currently in.
Yeah.
Also, it explores loneliness and desperation and the effects of what insomnia can do to the brain, because maybe, just maybe, while he was clearly depressed, he wasn't full on the verge of a split personality disorder until there was a switch that happened. Yeah. So, and the movie does a really good job with that. Of course, Edward Norton and playing the narrator really brings it together. Brad Pitt, this might just possibly be, in this president's humble opinion, his greatest performance. Guys, we had a blast with Fight Club. For him, it was his first time seeing it.
It really was.
And for me, it was maybe like the first time in 20 years. So it was really fun to go back and see this. And also, like we said, to explore the aspects of men's mental health. And I think that's what they were really striving for. And they really hit the nail on the head. And these days, it's a cult classic. It's readily available on Blu-ray and DVD and streaming services. Although, guys, the way things that have been going on streaming services lately, if you really want to go out and see it, buy the DVD or the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So with that being said, guys, final rating for this one, 4.5 out of 5. What say you?
I'd also say 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's damn close to perfect. There are some flaws because maybe it could have done just a little bit more of explaining, but on the other hand, maybe that was also worked to its advantage. But for some people, it may be a little hard to follow, and that might turn them off. So, but, of course, if you've seen Fight Club, and I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this one, so come up with something.
If you have seen Fight Club and you think it is one of the worst fighting movies ever made, I don't know, do you have something there?
I do not. I'm drawing a blanket. We're just going to ignore all that and edit that out. So with that being said, guys, stay tuned, because up next on Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, what do we got next?
The Wrestler.
The Wrestler is going to be coming to you next, and that's going to be a fun one too, guys. So with that being said, there's only one thing left for us to say, and that, of course, is
peace and love from Denny and Son. Bye.